1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert is on vacation. I'm joined by Dan Keel in studio.
Dan Keel's here.
And we have a guest already joining us this morning, Michael Carter. He's the Shreveport Police Union head honcho, Chief Cheese, boss daddy. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us so early. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We have to talk about police. The three things I told you were police pay, retention, and morale. And you said that's going to take all morning, right?
Oh, that could take all day and into tomorrow if you really got into it.
The key here is that we are losing officers at a rapid pace. Is it, if you look at the historical numbers, is this faster now than we've seen it in a while?
7 more this week. We're losing officers through retirement. We're losing them through early retirement. Just this week we lost a sergeant of 22 years, and he simply walked in, turned in his retirement letter, and he went to work for the state police. The bottom line is that we cannot keep going at the rate that we're going, and people are going to have to start making serious management decisions. They're going to have to quit ignoring the calls of the union.
We have what's our number now? What number of officers are we at? Where should we be?
I can't give you the accurate number right now. I'd say we're probably very close to the number of 500. We should be at 585.
Wow. And the big reason they're leaving, would you say, Michael, that it's pay?
Oh, one of the number one reasons is pay. Officers have to associate their risk versus their benefit. They have to do that for themselves. They have to do that for their families. They go home, they look at their wife, their husband in the face, and they have to, they are honest with them. And they say, "What happened at work today?" And they tell them, they say, "Look, this isn't worth it. You're taking all these risks. You're making all these sacrifices." We had another incident, last night or early this morning. The bottom line is that you have to be ready in the city of Shreveport at all times for some kind of violent confrontation. And police officers consider that risk, and they go other places where where there's the same risk, there at least is a more average or competitive salary.
Michael, Chief Crump has done away with the white shirts, so there's a common feeling of everyone has uniformity now. He's also instituted a program requiring upper management to ride with patrol officers. Those are some good things that he's doing to improve morale. But I'm hearing other things about testing and promotion and some other issues where people are really getting very frustrated with their opportunities being picked over for reasons that are not necessarily healthy. Is that true?
Distributive justice is something that is going to be called on in any profession, in any organization. But let me say this, whenever an organization has a testing process or a selection process and the employees engage in that process willfully and go along with the company's policies, and then those policies aren't followed, you lose morale very fast.
Are people being picked for positions based on factors other than the civil service testing or merit? Quite frankly, is there an effort to diversify?
Well, at this point, we don't even know what most of the criteria is. Now the chief is hand-picking all the way down to the officer and corporal level to go into certain positions. You just walk in saying, this is the one. No one's even given the chance to apply. No one's even given the chance to test. No one's even given the chance. And ultimately, he's picking people that did not apply or would not have applied. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword. Those that wanted to go didn't get the opportunity, and those that did want to go are being forced to go.
The problems at Shreveport Police, would you rest them at the foot of the chief, the mayor, citizens, all of the above? Well,
the number one problem is management. All right, it's the distributive justice and procedural justice that falls on the manager. Okay, it falls on the CEO, and that's the chief of police. But the budget woes that comes from the mayor's office and the city council's office. The leaders of Shreveport are going to have to understand that policing is like any other career field. There is competition. And if you want the best police officers, they say that they do, but their actions do not reflect that. You're going to have an average salary before you can have a competitive salary, and we do not have either one at this time.
Where do we fall in terms of salaries? Are we among the lowest in the
state?
We're
$11,000 a year below this region. Now, this region extends from here through Texas over into the southwestern states. And everyone's like, well, you can't compare us to them. the government compares us to them. If you look up the ICMA handbook that's printed in Washington, D.C., it's basically the Chamber of Commerce statistical book. That is what we go by. That's what the government goes by. That is what statistics are evolved from, from the government process. They say, well, you just got to forget that and count Louisiana. Well, if you want to just count Louisiana, then you got to understand you're comparing a metropolitan area to very small towns, all right? Natchez does not compare to the population of Shreveport. Bossier really doesn't compare to the population of Shreveport, so on and so forth. But they'll come back and say, well, the average wage for an officer in Louisiana is only $38,000. That's counting $6,000 state supplemental pay. State supplemental pay is not Shreveport police-based pay. Every officer in Louisiana gets $6,000 state pay. Every firefighter gets state pay. So if you're going to compare apples to apples, then we got to be realistic in our conversations. And you'll get twisted up with a lot of these words, a lot of these talking points. People like Brian Crawford like to take the stump and talk, but they're not always factual, and they're not always true.
Michael, I wanted to ask you about vacation. I know there may be some litigation underway with that, but it's my understanding that the police department vacation schedule got just totally disrupted, that vacations were canceled, people were ordered to work at certain times because of the manpower shortage or whatever reason. Tell us about that.
Well, the forced overtime for Mardi Gras parades was what it ended up coming down to. Civil Service Board voted to release all the dates except for the Mardi Gras dates. They've got a 1-year pass this year, all right? That's not coming back around in 2018. They better find a way to staff the special events, or they need to start considering whether or not they're going to have the special events. When you start having to draft people to work the cruising ops on Sundays or the Independence Bowl, you have a critical staffing problem. And at some point, they're going to have to consider 12-hour shifts at the Shreveport Police Department. They don't want to because they've never done it. And we are very, very slow to change. But the truth is that they're getting down to the lowest manpower that they've ever seen based on their needs, and they're going to have to start considering 12-hour shifts. Nobody wants that change, but somebody's going to have to do it eventually.
Michael, one last question before we have to go. If there anything other than money the police department or the administration could do to help morale, what advice would you give them other than money?
Follow the civil service law, practice sound human resource management tactics, and stop engaging in organizational politics to the point where it frustrates your people and makes them, go looking for another job. Someone, once told me, they said, money's not everything. And indeed, that's true. But I'll tell you this, until you get to an average salary, you're done here, all right? You're simply done. You're only going to be a training ground for people. You're only going to be the guy that trains a cop, gives them experience, and watches them go somewhere else and use that experience in their career. But the next best thing is apply sound human resource practices to people and make sure that it is absolutely understood department-wide that they're going to be treated with procedural and distributive justice. And until that happens, you're not going to have a happy department.
Sergeant Michael Carter, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you joining us so early this morning.
Thank you.